Got more coffee, but such is the nature of the beast. Alright. We are live, ladies and gentlemen, for a third time. I think it's the third time. I'm pretty confident it's the third time. Lay down, look, Ginger. You turd monkey butt. Ginger. You turd monkey butt. Calling my dog names, it's what I do. She don't care. She's awesome either way, alright? Let's hit up Twitter now. Oh wait, I probably should put that in the front. New tweet from the Goblin. Oh, that's all that is. Okay. So I'm not actually going to wait for anyone to appear in this video to do a live stream. I'm just going to do it, okay? So, while I was doing my previous game stream, my phone dinged, and it ironically gave me a notification for a video that was done 3 days ago by Jackal Kick, simply called Life Sucks. Now, we could sit here and debate on whether or not I should do a live reaction to it, but at the same time, he put it out himself, okay? You know, public view. So, there you go. There's that one for you. And I watched the whole thing, and then I was like, well, I have my own thoughts and opinions on this. So, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen. And again, this isn't to look down on the individual himself. You'll get the point when we get to it. All right? Because I don't believe in astrology bullshit, but I am a Virgo, so one thing that fits my sign is I worry about people.
What's up, YouTube? It's Jackal Kick. I just want to do a video.
Oops. Probably help. Otherwise, there's going to be an echo. Plug my headphones back in. Okay, now we should be all right. Let's rock and roll.
Oh, forget the Jackal Kick thing. Forget the whole YouTube thing and the YouTuber side of it. I just want to vent. I just want to talk about things because I currently don't feel well emotionally, and I want to vent about these things. I like when rappers do it, and I want to do it in a video because I'm just very, very depressed right now. And I'm just simply going to call this video Life Sucks. Because honestly, it does. It really, really does. Things just haven't been well recently. They really haven't been well. For a number of reasons. Number one, the most obvious, people know me, the porn addiction. I tried to kick the porn addiction since like late 2022 and haven't been able to.
So I'm going to touch
I fell back into it.
You know, I used to look at a lot of porn, all right? I'm 39 years old, so trust me, I've seen a lot of porn. And for the longest time, I was like, I feel like I'm looking and watching too much of this stuff. I personally wouldn't say I was addicted to it, but I felt that I watched and interacted with it too much. So then I was thinking, well, how could I lessen this? Because then I would find myself continually to go back to it. And then I randomly came across a video on YouTube. Um, and it was a female who was talking about the negative side of porn. Not so much like the addiction to it, but that some of the people that you see in these porn films, all right, they may not willfully be there. All right, because ironically, there are a few websites that I would visit back in the day, such as kindgirls.com. A lot of the women there are in foreign countries. All right, yeah, there's a few that are, labeled as American, but most of them are labeled as foreign. So I really can't say anything that I think would ultimately help you in regards to your addiction, other than the one thing that kind of helped me lessen the amount of time that I spent looking at it. And it's extremely rare that I look at it nowadays, is that remember that not every female in a porn is there willfully. And if you remember that, then that may deter you from actually watching or looking at porn. That not every female is agreeing to it. They may look like they're agreeing to it, but it's also, they may not. Granted, you look at something like Pornhub, that's completely different because, you clearly have women that may be in that facet of wanting to do it, that kind of thing. But that's something that ultimately helped me to lessen it within of itself, was that I simply, from watching a video from a female, it was, it's probably not as good for them as it should be. Hopefully that makes some sense. And that's how I ultimately looked at that in context. If it made any sense. Hopefully it did.
Multiple times this year, and wondering if I'm ever even going to be able to get away from the addiction, and wanting to stop using it, and just dumbfounded and aggravated that I even went back to it, and I was doing so well staying away from it. But I'm trying not to count anymore on this new streak of getting rid of this porn addiction, because I feel like counting makes it worse. So I got the porn addiction and me going through this cycle again, making me feel like complete shit as it does coming off addiction. There's that. The fact that I feel far behind in life. I don't know how to drive a car. My dad never taught me how to drive a car. So I don't even know how to drive a car.
I don't know exactly like the full details on his addiction. But I would also say to try to do things that would deter you from actually doing it. So for example, let's say you look at porn on your phone a lot. Make your screensaver and your background a picture of your mom. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but sometimes it could be the little thing to where you get the idea, I want to do this. And so you go to grab your phone, you open it, and it's your mom. And you're like, okay, maybe not. You get what I'm saying? Sometimes I think when it comes to at least an addiction like this, we need to try to think outside of the box to help improve ourselves. So what can I do that I know would steer me away from doing that? And to me, I mean, I've never had to use what I just gave an example from, but that seems like to me it's something that would work. Like there's a picture of my mom on my phone. It's the first thing that shows up. It's like, all right, that looking at porn idea has now left my brain because that was just awkward. And hopefully it doesn't seem like I'm laughing at you. Just, the example that I gave is what I was laughing at. But I think it's something that you could try that might be able to help with your addiction. That, and remember that it's not all, but some women that are in porn are not there willingly. Okay? So whatever you think you can do to deter you from it is something that you should try. And maybe these are two things that you can try as well. Remembering that not every woman in porn is there willfully, and that, yeah, whatever you need to deter you from, even like if you're talking like on your computer, make your background a picture of your mom. Doesn't literally have to be just your mom. It could be a picture of you and her. But the idea for you is to mentally look at it, and you could just be like, well, what would my mom say to this right now? And then maybe that deters you from actually doing it. Just a little bit something extra to help motivate you to kind of battle this addiction that you have. All right?
Even own my own car, never even owned my own house. And I also feel like this YouTube channel I have should be way bigger than it is. It should be a lot more successful than it is. Never been in a relationship. Never been with a woman. I've been wearing the same black baseball cap hat since 2021. I mean, I got financial problems, but I'm trying to save with my money, even though maybe I should get a new hat, but, you know, okay. Is that really important?
So, you listed quite a few things here. Yeah, you don't drive. I didn't learn to drive until I was 33 years old. All right? And that's because when I was 16, I went to my parents. I was all excited, all motivated, and they were like, you have to buy your own car. Which meant I had to get a job, so I was like, fuck that shit. So for the longest time, I didn't do anything. And even when I became older, like in my 20s, and I had to go find a job, I was walking or riding a bike. And it wasn't until I was 33 years old that it was like, all right. And now that I do drive, it's like I really wish I would have been more motivated in my younger years to just go out and do it, because my whole thing was, it was more of a, I don't want to say scared, but it was more nervous being behind the wheel, having to parallel park, which was something that never even came up in my driving test. I didn't even have to do that. So, you know, it's a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. And I really wish I would have done that a lot earlier. You said, if I remember in this video, because I've already watched it, you're 23, plenty of time. Don't wait too long to do it. All right? Trust me, don't wait too long. And then, of course, you know, as opposed to owning a car, it's like, well, you know, owning a car comes with a lot of responsibilities, not to deter you away from that in any facet that thereof. But again, it will make your life easier in the long run. Again, if I could go back in time, I would definitely tell my ass to just do this. It's not as scary as you are thinking it's going to be. Not saying that he is. That's just me. Back in the day, why I avoided it, other than my parents saying, we're not buying you a car, get your own. Owning the same baseball cap, I don't really think that's a problem with and of itself. There's plenty of people throughout their life that they own the same clothes, and they probably don't get a whole lot of new stuff. I mean, look at me. I wear nerd shirts. I'm almost 40 years old. It's probably not helping me in the dating scene, but I really don't care. But that's me, you know. And he also spoke about being single. I'm single. Last time I went on a date, I was in junior high. Like an actual date was in junior high. Have not been on one since. And there's more to that, but there's other context in this video that we'll get to later.
Saving up money should be more important. I have bad anxiety problems in public when I'm around people. I just don't do well. You know, when I'm around people in public, I just have anxiety, and it's from the porn addiction.
No, I can't say that this will
another
help
thing
you. But me, I'm naturally a shy person. It may not seem like it because I'm on YouTube, but trust me, I am naturally a very shy person. I keep to myself, even at family get-togethers. All right. If we were to describe a family get-together as a party, I'm that guy in the corner, on a chair drinking a beer by myself, watching everyone else dance around, talk, and have fun. That's me at a regular party. That's me at a family get together. I am massively shy, even around people that I know, which is also one huge part of why I'm currently single. And there was a time that it controlled my life to the point that I was suicidal, that I had thought about it, and even, had that moment where I had the gun and I was going to end my life, because it was like, this is just too much. And the thing about me, again, I don't believe in astrology, but my sign is a Virgo. We usually seem to be able to work out our own problems, which at this moment, at this time, I did. And it was the only thing I told myself was that if I end my life right here, right now, I will never know. If I were to ever get married, will get married, have kids, whatever the case may be, I will never know. So I came up with the idea that I was no longer going to focus on I'm single, I've never been with a woman, yada, yada, yada. I'm just going to live my life. If I end up single, if I die a virgin, I don't really care. I'm no longer going to worry about it. And it was at that moment that I myself no longer worried about ever being single. I stopped breaking down and crying over it. And granted, so there's some understanding. This was all the way up until like 18, early 20s, when I came to the idea that I was going to end my own life. So, and another thing that I also try to remind myself is that there are people out there in this world whose life is far worse than my own. All right? There are probably, there's guys out there that probably don't even associate with females. They can't even count them as just a regular friend, let alone a girlfriend. And I bring this up because when I was watching this, I was like, I don't think I can really help him. But I'm 39 years old. I do have some experience, so I can kind of just give him what advice I think might be helpful to him. And that's why I'm actually doing this video.
Have that sucks is OCD and OCD perfectionism, where it's like things have to be perfect, or reassurance asking, or just a lot of things in life have to be approached and thought about a certain way. So OCD, anxiety, the porn addiction. I don't have any friends in real life. I don't really have a whole lot to do. For the most part, I'm in this fucking house all the time. I may be able to go for walks, and when I get the chance. So I maybe I can do daily walks when I get the chance to leave the house, but a decent part of my life still is being spent at the house, and it can drive you crazy being stuck in the fucking house. It just sucks. It sucks that I'm 23, by the way, going to be 24 later this year, and I feel far behind in a lot of things. And I'm not saying I'm just accepting this, and I'm accepting all this stuff I'm dealing with and just not going to make adjustments. I'm trying to make adjustments. Well, I don't want to use that word because I guess it doesn't make it sound like you're going all in, but I'm attempting to make adjustments. Like, I'm not giving up on quitting the addiction.
I would say also, I think a job could help you because it would get you out of the house. Not to mention you'd be able to earn more money from it. Now, granted, he did say he doesn't have a car. So that right there does objectively limit you on distance. All right. So like, for example, me, when I didn't drive, because I didn't get my license till I was 33, but I did start working at the age of 18. To give you an example, I worked at the California Conservation Corps. I did not drive. My dad worked. He drove. And I did live with him at the time. So he would take me to work and pick me up from work. There were also times he could get called in, and he'd come in, wake me up at like 3, 2 in the morning, be like, hey, they called me in. Do you want to walk to work or you want to get a ride? And 60% of the time, if not 75% of the time, I'm like, I'm riding. I'll just camp out in front of the building and sleep. And that's what I would do. So there are options available to you to help you get up and get out of the house. You have to take that initial step. Even something like as simple and as basic as a job. Even if you have to walk there, even if you have to get a bike and ride the bike, if your mom can drive, if she can, if her schedule is free to give you a ride, whatever your source could be, there's a way. Okay? There's always a way.
I thought of a new strategy, this live stream thing I've been trying, and I still keep up on the walks because I want to lose weight because the weight issues is another thing. I'm self-conscious about when I'm in public. Constantly worrying, is this or that person going to say this or that? Are they gonna talk shit? Having a hard time standing up for myself and
39 years old. And I could tell you that from my experience, most people don't really acknowledge you. And when I say you, I mean us as people. We all have our own things that we're worried about and things that we're doing. And the only way anyone would really interact with you is if you did something to irritate them or make them angry. Driving, for example, which you don't currently drive, so this wouldn't be an issue for you. But cutting someone off, them getting pissed off, a little bit of road rage. I've had that experience, all right? In fact, it happened not too long ago because I wasn't paying attention when I was making a right turn. I pulled right in front of somebody, didn't even see him, and yeah, we almost collided, but thankfully they didn't have their head up their ass like I did. So, yeah.
confrontation areas. Like if I ever occasionally deal with some asshole or deal with something bad, it's like I'll make an excuse for being a wimp and not being able to stand up.
I don't really see how this is a problem. You want to know how many fights I've been in my entire life? 2. You want to know how many I won? None. You want to know how many I walked away from? 2. I don't think it makes me pussy or anything like that. I mean, it did irritate some classmates because there was this one gentleman, his name was Kyle. People really wanted me to try and kick his ass because apparently nobody liked him. But I don't think that makes you any less of a man or a person just because you may not be a fighter. Because ultimately I sit here and I think if came push to shove, I'm not going to say I'd win, but I think I could get rascally enough if push came to shove. And it really depends on the whole reason. Like the reason why I backed out of the fights is because they were bullies anyway. And I thought it was pointless. The first guy, this was in high school, by the way. I think freshman, sophomore year. He was bigger than me too. He didn't hit very hard. And I backed out of the fight, but he stopped picking on me after that. All because his mentality was I had the guts to at least stand up to him. Even though I did back out of the fight. He didn't really see that as like a pussy move or anything like that. So, yeah. Can't say that about the second guy. Him and his friends still harass me, but not as much. So, I don't really think that you, I don't know, not being like, what motherfucker, is a bad thing.
Up because of how I was treated by my dad, because of what the porn addiction did to me and how it destroyed me as a person. All the years of my life I've lived being in the house all the time, being on social media, being on internet, being isolated. Life just sucks, honestly. You can sit there and tell me there's good and bad days, but which is true, but
okay. I'm going to play a little bit of the devil's advocate here, Jackal, if you end up watching this video. Life does suck. But life is also what you make it. And this is coming from someone who wanted to end their own life. This is also coming from someone who has had a friend who ended their life. I was in the military. He took his own life with a shotgun. And there were certain people, when it came to that individual, that called him a pussy, that kind of thing, because he decided to cop out, check out. But me, I didn't really think of that. And maybe it's because of my own experience with the idea and the almost thought of taking my own life, that maybe I was able to sympathize with this fellow sailor, because he was a Navy sailor, that decided to take his own life. I didn't see him as a pussy or taking the easy way out. I looked at him as misunderstood. Because we could sit here and talk all day about people that want to end their own life. And the reality of it is unless they have somebody to talk to, unless they have somebody to vent to that's willing to listen, what other choices do you think they themselves are going to come up with? So that's why I tell you that life is what you make it. Because that's what it is. Your life will be as good as you make it be. Your life will be as shitty as you make it be. And again, this is coming from someone, yes, who thought about ending their own life. And was even at that point, gun in hand. Life isn't easy. Depression isn't easy. Anxiety can't be easy. I do okay in groups. I'm just naturally shy. Be over there secluded by myself. Leave me alone. Don't talk to me. All right? Which isn't a good thing. In fact, one thing that I wanted to do when I got a little bit older was like, how can I combat me being shy? And I sat there and I thought, well, I usually avoid jobs that are like a cashier. So I actually went out and got a cashier's job because I knew it would force me to interact with people. So, again, there are things that we can do. And your life is what you make it. And, yeah.
Just today, I feel like life sucks. I mean, yesterday I didn't feel that way. I felt happy yesterday, but I just feel like life sucks at the moment,
There's nothing wrong with that.
I guess this camera, I'm treating it like...
That's going to happen. You're going to have your ups, you're going to have your downs, you're going to have your in-betweens. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think when it comes to something like that, the bigger problem is if it was happening constantly every day. All right? And the only caveat I would say to that is that if that ever becomes a thing, is that remember you have your mom to lean on. An ear to speak to. Can't really say your dad because according to the video, he's not really there or he's a douchebag.
Like I'm talking to a therapist, which I should get a damn therapist, but you're pretty limited when you don't have a car. I mean, technically I had a car, but my piece of crap father got most of them. He got one of them because, back when my mom was with him, she made the mistake of signing his name, even though my grandfather bought that fucking car. He doesn't deserve to have those vehicles. I'm not going to name names, but there's people in my family. I'm just going to say it. Well, I don't know if I should say it, but what I'm just going to say is this. There's people in my family that my mom has helped out financially, but they don't help us back financially. They don't even hit us up. They've never even been to our house. They haven't even been to our last house. And, what else could I say? I'm self-conscious about my body. I hate the fact that I'm fat.
I think most people are.
But at least I'm making an attempt to walk.
Even I am. In fact, I'm actually what they call skinny fat. So I look skinny, but, well, let's just say you might blind yourself if I take my clothes off. And, I mean, there are things that I myself can do to improve that. In fact, even my doctor has said that I should deal with it. In fact, when I was, I think, 35, I had high cholesterol, which he said was very odd and rare for someone my age. So, I started to take it more serious. Went on the diet that he suggested I go on. And granted, yes, I'm no longer on that diet. And maybe I do use my work as an excuse because it requires us to travel a lot. But there's really nothing that would ultimately prevent me from doing that. You know? I would say that there are things outside of just walking that you probably could do. There's probably plenty of free YouTube videos that may be able to give you some kind of workouts to do to kind of free you up, listen to music while you're, jamming.
But I hate the OCD because it gets in the way of my recovery. Because certain things that aren't a relapse, I think are a relapse. My OCD thinks it's a relapse because of the porn addiction. Sleep is another thing I stress and worry about a lot. So even with the morning schedule, I stress and worry about sleep a whole lot. Where I'm like, man, I want to go to sleep early, and I try to keep a morning sleep schedule for the most part. But there's times where that gets deterred, or I start to fall having to sleep later. I drink a lot of caffeine, as I made a video about caffeine addiction. I was bullied in school growing up, even though I did eventually stand up for myself. But right now, I hate myself. I do. That's definitely the porn addiction. It involves self-hate, but I hate myself. For just the fact that I feel like I could be way better as a person, and I just don't feel like an upstanding citizen or upstanding person. Because look at this. I'm fat. I'm a virgin. Never been with a woman. Financially, I'm a wreck. Never had my own house. Never drove a car. Never even had a car. I have a hard time being in public and being around people and having anxiety issues. I'm slowly making baby steps to handle confrontations, but I suck at confrontations and I suck at standing up.
Okay. So, obviously this iterates that a job that surrounds you with a lot of people, say McDonald's or cashier, probably wouldn't be the kind of job for you. You probably would be better suited trying to find some kind of industrial job. I don't know where you live. Where your interaction is with less people. Yes, I am back. I don't know. Let's see, what was I talking about? I got distracted by the comment section. Maybe it'll come back to me.
Up for myself because of how my dad treated me, because of the fucking porn addiction, and also being in this house a lot and not having a lot of opportunities.
You might be better off getting an industrial type job. That way it doesn't really surround you. You don't really have to interact with what we would call... Can you rewind the stream? Well, ironically, I have thought about actually starting it over because I came up with different thoughts and ideas. But anyway, he's a subscriber of mine, and I was watching his video, so I had a thought and opinion. He shared it publicly, so I was like, well, I'm going to give him my thoughts and opinions. And then the reason being is because I was suicidal for a time. I already mentioned this in the video. So there's that one. I'm not saying that he is, but I like to try to help people with their problems. It's one of my personality traits. Call it positive or negative. Like I said earlier in the stream, I don't really believe in astrology, but I'm a Virgo. I'm also, my Chinese zodiac is a pig. They're basically the same thing. All right. I don't like to talk about my own problems, but I will help people with their problems. So yeah, he was talking. He has Jackal Gold Kick has anxiety, so that would kind of limit him to the jobs that he could take. Obviously, he wouldn't want to work in a grocery store or fast food because that would surround him with a lot of people. So I think an industrial type job, again based on where he lives, might be more suitable because yes, there might be a few decent amount of people there, but not in the context of like dealing with new strangers every day, like in a grocery store or something like that. So I think that's something that could ultimately help you, Jackal, is one, even though you have the anxiety, is that it might actually benefit you to try to get a job. Because like I said, I'm naturally a shy person. So one reason why I decided to get a job in being a cashier is because it would force me to interact with people. And I figured maybe it would help kind of get over my shyness. Did it do it completely? No. But I would say it did help.
Opportunities to constantly go places. If I had more money like that and I had a vehicle, damn right I'd be leaving and traveling state to state and country to country. You know, I feel like
maybe not exactly, because you talked about finances, and that does require some money to do that. Yeah, maybe like a factory job, something in the industrial area. Like my first job, was because of my dad. I worked at a piping manufacturing company. I worked in the grinding department. Basically, my job was to take broken pieces of plastic pipe. They were like sewer type pipes, but plastic. Put them in a big machine that would regrind them up and spit them out as pellets. It would fill up what was called a tri-wall, which is basically a giant ass box. Then I would take that, weigh it, and then go stick it on one of the racks. Besides pipe, there was also the machines that produced the pipe that this stuff was made on would excrete extra plastic, and it would, collect. So they would cut it off, and then I'd have to take that, throw it in the machine so it could be reground, so it could go back through later on to create more pipe, waste nothing. So that could be something I think that could benefit you, Jackal Goldkick, is some kind of factory or industrial job. And again, you don't drive, but there's the option to walk, get a bike, or maybe get a ride.
Addiction wise, I feel like Eminem from 2006 and 7 when he was on pills, but then like lifestyle wise, I feel like Hobson when he was in, I want to say maybe like before he got his mental health checked or helped out. I feel like him, when he was stuck in the basement all the time making rap songs, but had all these issues. Like, I just wanted to vent about things and talk about things, get them off my chest. I was in a stream earlier with some people. I'm like, man, I gotta get this off my chest. I gotta talk about it because
I think he mentioned it earlier, or maybe he mentions it later, because I watched this entire video before I actually did this stream. Is I don't think if you feel that you venting to your subscribers would help you, I say go for it. Do it. All right? I mean, let's see. You look at the video. 19 likes. I mean, I can't see the dislikes, but ultimately I say that's irrelevant. One should not focus on the likes or the dislikes of their video, because it can only make you feel bad, worse. I think he also actually talks about he hoping his channel would be bigger than what it is. Don't sweat the small stuff, because that is something that is small. As long as you're enjoying what you're doing, that's really should be the only thing that matters. All right? Because I could sit here all day and be like, oh man, Gamer Rant could be at 5,000 subscribers by now. And I probably could be. But I deleted the original channel, and I've been, hit or miss here and there, in and out. So my channel is the way it is because of things that I've done. But when it comes to like, oh, did my videos get a lot of likes, or did they get a lot of views? I just kind of stopped worrying about that. Because at the end of the day, it was like, it doesn't really matter. As long as the people that are watching it and enjoying it are enjoying it, then I don't need to make a viral video. I don't need to go viral. Because I'm not doing this to go viral. I'm not doing it for the views. I'm not doing it for the likes. I'm doing it because I like video games and I like writing. But that's just one man's opinion on it.
I don't want this emotion I'm feeling to either You know, because this emotion I'm feeling could cause me to go back to my addiction. So why not just make a video venting about this shit? Just to say life sucks, because it fucking does.
Vent away.
You know? There shouldn't be good and bad days. We should
Therapy
just always
comes
have
in
good
different
days.
forms.
You know? But a lot of it isn't my fucking fault because I had a shitty father. You know, if I had a strong father figure who was a strong male role model, I wouldn't have half or probably most of these problems that I do have. You know? But, I mean, I guess there's good things about me, but, you know, when you're having a bad day, you don't care about that. You don't think about those things. You can't be grateful or appreciate stuff when you're having a shitty day. So, you know,
So there's one thing that artists usually say, all right? Artists are their worst critic, all right? So I started writing at a young age, and there was a while where I would write, 3-4 chapters in a novel I came up with. I'd go back, read it, and be like, this is crap. And then I'd throw it away. Start over. All right? You are your worst enemy. You are your worst critic. If you can acknowledge that and not simply accept it, but learn from it, then you know that old saying, other people's opinion doesn't matter, is also true for yourself. Your own opinion of yourself is irrelevant. Because if all it's doing is pulling you down into despair, then you're your own bully is basically what you're doing, if that makes any sense. You know? For example, one reason why I stopped rewriting a lot of my works is I went to college for a writing degree, and I had other people read my stuff and they were like, this is good. So it was like, all right, maybe my stuff isn't as bad as I think it is. And then I would say to you is that maybe you're not as bad as you think you are. Because when it comes to artists, they are their worst critic. But that's also true for individuals themselves. We are our worst bully. There's no bigger bully than the one that's looking you in the mirror. And the only one that can defeat that bully is the person staring back. Because, I'm skinny fat. Even though my doctor actually classifies me as overweight. I'm considered overweight for my age, 39, and my height, I'm 5'4". I'm considered overweight, which in comparison to any other person like my mom or my dad, they're way bigger than me. Same with my little brother. He's way bigger than me. I'm actually the skinniest person in my immediate family. They all laugh when I told them that my doctor said I was overweight, because they were like, I wish I was as fat as you. And that's what this ultimately comes down to, is that you are your worst enemy. You are your worst bully. And I think that's one thing that people need to learn within life. That's the first bully that we all have to try to defeat, is the one that lives within us. And the one that is demeaning and bullying ourselves. Oh, yeah, I know. I'm what they call skinny fat. So I look skinny with clothes on. But I probably would blind people without it. Burn your retina out.
Reality, maybe a lot of this stuff, well, not all of this stuff, but maybe some of the stuff I'm saying about me, hate myself and stuff, maybe it's just a phase thing because I am having a bad day, but I just wanted to vent. That's what I want.
It could be a phase. You never know. It could be a phase thing. Throughout my life, I have often done things, tried things. I'm like, this is probably just a phase. And that's usually what it turned out to be. And I don't expect this video to be like some mic drop, life moment, changing moment for you if you watch it. But I mostly show it because you said you have no friends. But, I have plenty of internet friends that I've never met, and I still consider them friends. In fact, I would even go as far as to say, especially in context to something like YouTube, your subscribers could be considered your friends, because why else would they subscribe to you? Because they have to like your personality. They have to like your way of thinking. So clearly you have more in common with these individuals. So I would dare say that even though you believe you don't have friends, you actually have more friends than you actually think you have.
Wanted to do in this video, just a venting video talking about problems and things and stuff like that, and why I just feel like life sucks. That's basically what I want to talk about here. Because I always liked how music artists talked about stuff they deal with in songs, and I don't know how to fucking write music. I haven't tried to rap in years, so let me at least do it in a video format. But yeah, and another thing I worry about is how I'm going to go about the dating and women's scene. Like, if I actually get rid of this porn addiction, how the hell am I going to go about the dating scene and the women's scene? I have no experience with it. Had a weak father figure who wanted to do nothing but play video games and be a criminal and live off my mom, and just a fucking loser. It's like I had a good mom, but I had a shitty father. It's almost like I was...
This is probably going to sound cliche. Exceed and try to be better than your father. Like, if you start thinking with that mentality, you don't... Yeah, it's a negative aspect of your life, and it would be cool if your dad would have been a dad. But some of my friends who have had similar or slightly similar issues in regards to their either their mom, for female friends, or their dad, is, use that as motivation to better improve yourself and to be a better father. And granted, yes, you're probably sitting there now thinking, well, not dating anyone. It's hard to talk to women. That's the boat I'm in. I'm naturally shy. I can't tell you how many times I've tried ringing up a conversation with a woman, and in the end, I walk away thinking, man, I fucking sounded like a fucking dumbass. And, I laugh about it now. And that's because, like I said, I'm 39 years old. I've had this experience. I've literally had girls just laugh in my face from me asking them out. This is high school, by the way. So, yeah, high school girls can be quite the bitches. I had one girl tell me I was just ugly straight to my face. I mean, it's the nature of the beast. And that's one reason why I also actually battled with suicide back in the day, taking my own life. It's because of that. It was like, my life is so crappy. I'm clearly ugly. God made me ugly. Therefore, why should I even be here? But then it came to that iteration that once again, that, I make my life what it is. I can either continue to be shy and awkward around females, or I could try to improve. And there's probably no real answer that I could give you to help in this aspect because, like I said, I'm still shy. So I ain't paying people. Be like, hey, you want to know how to get women? Well, for $99.99. I think in the end, when you focus too much on the negative, then your life is going to feel negative. Like I said, what helped me back in the day was I stopped worrying about dating. I stopped worrying about finding love, and it made me healthier. I have not once ever rethought about taking my own life because of it. I just came up with the idea, you know what? If I meet someone and we click, if I, see a woman and I get the courage to talk to her, then okay, it will happen. If I don't, life will go on. If I die never having children, never having a girlfriend, never having a wife, life will go on. I don't need that to prove that I am a man. I don't need it to prove that I am a human. Because it was just putting me in a place that was far more unhealthy than I needed to be. And it's no, mystery that it can be difficult to talk to women, especially if you're naturally shy. And there are some women out there that don't make it easy. Like I said, I literally had girls in high school tell me I was ugly to my face, or just laugh at me after asking them out. Not to mention the one girl that I did ask out was actually a friend of mine. So the first crush that I actually ended up having and asking out, well, okay, she wasn't the first crush, but she was the first girl that I had a crush on that I actually worked up the courage to ask out. And then the next day at school, she hands me a note saying she was just fucking with my head. That was actually the driving point, for me wanting to end my life. But then it was like, if I do this might be some kind of satisfaction to her. She probably wouldn't even care. And to me, that was just kind of like, I don't know, somehow like I'd be putting a thumbs up in her book. Like, yeah. But I chose that, I'm going to continue. And I'm not going to worry about it. And now, granted, this is from my perspective. This is me. And it may, that whatever advice is in this video may not help you, Jackal Gold Kick. But, like I already said, your life is what you make it. All right? As someone who came from a real bad place, I'm talking holding a gun in my hand kind of bad place. You are what you make your life. And I chose to make my life better, even though, would it be considered better by some people standards? Probably not. But it's definitely better than where I was. And another thing that's helped me is that there's always somebody out there who has a far worse life than our own. And I guess that's one reason why I felt the greater need to do this video, is because I see, like I said, I had a friend in the Navy who took his own life, shotgun. I mean, that was devastating. It was even more devastating when I had other fellow sailors talk bad about that individual. Sorry, got lost in thought there. Trying to contain myself. I don't like crying in front of people. All right. So yeah. If you take away anything from this video, is that you do have the power to change your life. And I know you kind of said in the beginning of the video that, people would tell you that. But it is true. You are your own worst enemy. I am my own worst enemy. There is no greater critic than the one that looks us in the mirror every day. In fact, it's actually been scientifically proven that we as individuals are more harsh on ourselves than an actual bully. I don't know if too many people that have ever been bullied would agree with that statistic, but as someone who has been bullied back in the day, at least for me, I would say yes. I definitely was far worse to myself than what any bully could do. physically or mentally.
Gifted and cursed. No pun intended, a reference to Dennis, but it's a lot. And I wanted to vent about all of it in the video, you know, and I'm not trying, you know, and I don't want to come off as someone that keeps a consistent theme of, woe is me, make people feel sorry for me so I get attention. That's not what this is about. This is me venting, mental health type stuff, just let people know what's going on.
I don't really see it as attention seeking because, I mean, you're just really venting to your own subscribers who, ironically, at their core, could be considered the friends that you think you don't have. And what other purpose is a friend there than to, well, hear about your day and your problems.
Because, you know, it's common for people to say, how's it going? And in the past, I used to lie. Maybe I still lie here and there, but I try to be more honest. Like, well, you know what? I'm not really doing well, you know? So, yeah, I just want to vent about things and basically just say that.
Honesty is the best policy, especially when it comes to your parents. Well, at least for Jackal Goldkick, more so his mom. If your mom ever asks you that, don't lie to her. Be honest. All right? Because from what I gather from this video, she's someone that you can definitely count on. And I would say, yeah, use that source. I mean, I would even say, even if she doesn't ask you how your day is, you probably could call her, or if you live with her, just go talk to her about your problems and your issues. I was distracted by the chat. Sorry, people.
Life fucking sucks, because it does. Also, things are expensive. Things are too expensive. I remember I only had like 30 something on Patreon, I think last month or something, and I could only afford like 2 days worth of food for me and my brother, and all the money was gone. It's like, stuff is too expensive. That's another fucking problem, man. And then this world has become so changed and affected by internet and social media. You know, I missed the 2000s, man. When I was a kid, I feel like there was a lot of things that were better. It was before I was a porn addict. It was when I had more friends and people to hang out with.
All right, I don't really know exactly your iteration for social media. So all I can give you is an example of myself. So there was a time where I would be spending too much time on Facebook, you know, because I had notifications on. So I'd be constantly looking at the phone, then replying to people. And it just was, well, it was just crazy. So there came a point where I was like, well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to turn notifications off for Facebook. And that freed up so much of my time because I wasn't wasting my time debating people on topics that really, at the end of the day, was like, why? All right? So I would say, because I don't know, you know, what your social media is like per se, but if you have notifications set on your phone, turn them off. All right? More specifically, Facebook. If you have TikTok, I probably would just give TikTok up. Again, I don't know. I do have notifications set for YouTube and even Twitter, but that's based on topics that I am interested in, and most of the time I don't even check the notifications. That would be one reason why it took me a while to respond to your message you sent me, because that reason right there.
And I had a real world and entertainment, unlike the 2010s and 2020s where it's like internet and social media have become such a problem where they've affected humanity. A lot of people just live on the internet and social media now, and I'm not perfect because I do a lot of that, but I hate how things have changed. Yes, there's good things about internet and social media, but damn it, it's affected the world in bad ways because, you know, relationships and friendships and hanging out with people and stuff like that just doesn't happen as much anymore. And I feel like
I can understand what he's saying here. I actually had a childhood friend And we were friends on Facebook for a while. And then he would, because I'm an atheist, so I don't really go out of my way to make arguments with anyone on Facebook or social media based on our differences of beliefs. But he had a tendency to post things that kind of belittled atheists. So, of course, as an atheist, I'd be like, hello. Well, it got to the point where apparently he got irritated with me and he unfriended me. And we weren't friends on Facebook for maybe like, I want to say a year and a half. And then randomly I just was like, I'm going to send him a friend request. And he accepted it. But I have noticed that he no longer actually posts those kind of things anymore. So, you know, there's no real context to that, to what he's talking about. I just thought I would mention it, you know. Is that, you know, yes, what he's technically talking. Okay, so I guess if there is context, it's yes, you know, social media can change people. There's one example, like literally I had a friend who was irritated because I would defend other atheists, and being an atheist myself. It's like, you can believe what you want to believe, but there's no reason to belittle people, especially if you're a religious person. That's not what you should be doing according to your religious text.
Don't see as many people outside as like you know should because of that stuff. Damn, man, life fucking sucks, and that's what I'm gonna call this video. Just wanted to vent about things and go along with this and just talk about things on my mind and stuff, and it's really all I gotta say in this video. Felt good to do this. Well, hopefully it feels good to upload this, but I had to say it. Peace.
Oh, yeah. You know, I think that, you know, life does suck. But like I said, you know, the grain of salt to that is that life is also what you make it. I know nobody wants to hear that, but it's also true. All right? So let me see. All right. I'm just kind of glancing at the comments real quick. Oh yeah, that is true. All right, so I guess in closing, you know, like I already stated, is, you know, life is what you make it. And there are, I think some of his problems can, I'm not going to say can easily be fixed, but they can be fixed. You know, first off, he's probably his biggest bully. And that's something that he can fix. Because, I mean, I'm 39 years old. I wear nerdy shirts everywhere I go. And, you know, most people possibly around my age are no longer wearing these kind of shirts. But it's like, my mentality is, I don't really care what other people think about me. Now, is that an easy mentality to adopt? Probably not for everybody. But it's something that I use. It could also be why I'm single, but that's neither here nor there. Maybe I'm waiting for that nerd chick to come along who's wearing the same shirt. But that's just kind of like the ridiculous fantasy of every nerd person, finding someone who likes video games and anime. Yeah, this one actually is an alien shirt. It's supposed to glow in the dark, but I've never actually worn it in the dark. Mostly because it's in the dark in my dresser, so, you know, how can it glow in the dark if it's already in the dark, not absorbing light? So, I think I've pretty much stated what I needed to say throughout this video. Which, how long was his video? I don't know how long his video was. It might have been 10 minutes or 12 minutes, and I did almost an hour video on it. Apparently I had a lot to say. Well, anyway, I'm going to end this video. I hope people enjoyed it. I hope Jackal Gold Kick takes something positive away from it in some fashion or form. Also, if you don't like the video, you can send me a message and I'll delete it or private it, whichever you desire, okay? But I don't see anything wrong with you voicing your thoughts, venting on your YouTube channel. It's your YouTube channel. And hopefully you can take some kind of positive message away from anything that I've said in this video. Even the smallest amount could ultimately benefit you. Hope you have a good day, and I'll see